in 1986, I returned back to New Jersey. And my father decided he wanted me to finish my senior year of high school in New Jersey so that I can be prepared to go to college. So I had to go and be interviewed to register at Memorial High School in West New York, New Jersey. So I went to, met with the counselor or the principal at the school. And he said, where are you from? I said, I'm from Palestine. I'm a 17-year-old kid, maybe 16, just gonna turn 17. He said, you mean Israel? I said, no, I'm from Palestine. Fine, so he wrote everything up and I got admitted. The years go by and I decide to get a copy of my file from Memorial High School from 1986. So I got a copy of my file. And this is what I got. And this is what is written in his comments. Abed came to Memorial High School in September 1986 from Israel. Open parenth, or Palestine as he refers to it, close parenth. So I left an impression on this fella back in 1986. He still called it Israel, but he said, Abed calls it Palestine. So when you talk about Palestinian identity, this is a sample of what every Palestinian would say and feel. Our identity is an identity of resistance, of assertion, that we are here and we cannot be silenced, and we will prevail because our cause is just. My parents are from Palestine. I was born in Inglewood, New Jersey, just right next to the GW Bridge, in 1969. In 1976, when I was 6.5 years old, my father returned to his village, Deir Dubwan, in the outskirts of Ramallah, and relocated there. So I was a son of an American. My father had served in the U.S. Army, and when he was discharged, got into business and did very well for himself, and decided to return back where he was born. And at the village, because my dad had some money, I was fortunate that he sent me to the best private school in Palestine. And it was a Quaker school. It was the Friends Boys School in Ramallah. And there we studied both in Arabic and English. So while I was born here, my entire upbringing, I was raised from 2nd grade to 11th grade in Palestine in my small village. I'm an attorney based in the New York, New Jersey area, and I have a unique expertise. I'm an expert on Islamic law. So I've been working a lot to dispel the misinformation and discrimination against Muslim Americans. So my work to dispel the misinformation about the Sharia and about Muslims is also because of my Palestinian background and because of seeing this discrimination and racism against Muslims in my country that I even suffered, was an impetus for me to focus and fight and educate judges and lawyers. Then the other is the legacy, or not the legacy, actually living under occupation. Seeing the soldiers, being threatened by soldiers, being involved in demonstrations, seeing the effects of this settler colonialist project that was constantly growing and oppressing and undermining the native Palestinian population. It was very hard to see colleagues and relatives going to jail. I was there at a period where it was the building blocks of the first Intifada, settlers taking land from neighboring villages. So I saw the oppression, and that was the most important imprint on my character, on my identity, and who I am today. Because there, living under occupation and the oppression, we learned what it meant to live in a racist settler colonialist state. So I had a sense from early on, from 6th and 7th grade, for example, I learned about Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement in Palestine. I understood this theory of liberation theology where, religion was a source of also liberation as opposed to oppression. I understood the legacy of colonialism in Algeria. All of those things I learned and evolved when I was growing up in Palestine. So Palestine became an issue not just about my oppression as a Palestinian and living under a colonialist occupation, but also became more of a worldview of liberation of all oppressed peoples. That Palestine is just one example of a settler colonial state, and that we are all in this together against oppression and colonialism and displacement worldwide. From the get-go, when I was in 8th grade, 9th grade, I had already started developing a sense of a responsibility to fight against the occupation, to struggle against the occupation, and ran for elections in student government, got active. By the time I came back to the US in 1986-87, and I started at St. Peter's College in Jersey City to do my undergraduate degree, I already met up with, believe it or not, the president of the Palestinian American Community Center, Diab Mustafa, had reached out to me in 1987, said, we're organizing the Palestinian students, we're getting organized. So that was just a no-brainer for me. I came from Palestine, I came from what was happening. So we started organizing as students back in 87 and 88. And that has driven my political activism. It has driven my social justice activism until today. I was a member of the Black Law Student Association at my law school. I used to attend all of the other settler colonialist movements when I was at the University of London to study for graduate school. So my entire life has been driven and guided by this moral compass of living under occupation in Palestine. That occupation is obscene, it's inhumane, must end, and justice has to prevail. And we have to have a passion to keep fighting because all decks are stacked against us. And we cannot survive or at least rid ourselves of the occupation unless we have this moral worldview is that all oppression worldwide is unacceptable and we have to be part of a movement. Hence, my work with African American groups, with civil liberties groups in the United States. We are all part of the same movement. We are against oppression and occupation and racism and discrimination worldwide. This has to end, and we as Palestinians have to carry the mantle, not only for Palestine. Palestine is just an example of what is happening, a very clear example of oppression, displacement, basically ethnic cleansing that we are seeing, a racist structural apartheid state that is still surviving. This has to end, and we're not going to end it unless we work worldwide with all like-minded people.